Okay, welcome to our Divesoft Gear Talks live. I think this is our third week. All right. So hope everyone's doing well today. It's good to be back. Today we have an exciting episode for you guys. We have these are real spools and some other tools. So you can see on my table I got lots of stuff out here for you. Um, we're going to go over everything. So keep up with us, right? And we have a little kind of game going on today. I have a bunch of little toy ducks. See if you can count and see how many we have. If you count the right amount, the first, let me see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4. The first five to count the right amount gets a Fluorescein. And then we have some like second place prizes. So we have this new safety labels. It says remove before diving. I'll show you guys this later, but it's actually really cool. You can see it's a real tough material. Oh, so all right. So let's dive in. So we have our reels that we're going to be talking about today. Remember, we have both of our feeds. So I'm going to show you kind of the big picture feed right here. And then I have my close-up camera so you can get a really good in-depth detailed look. So we're going to go over our reels. We have spools for you guys today. So just different important diving tools. Spools, and we have our SOS kit here. So you guys can take a look right here. There you go. There's a big feed. Oh, how did this guy get in here? I like to nestle in there. So in our SOS kit, we have Fluorescein, we have our safety mirror, we have an emergency spool, and we have our very, very popular Divesoft shorts. Also, it comes in this kit too, or I'm sorry, this case comes with it as well. I forgot to even mention that. It's the same kit as our analyzer HEO2, and the case, there you go. It's kind of the semi-hard case. So we'll definitely dive into that today too. All right. So I like to kind of warm up and talk about everything so that we can get the beginning started. So for everybody that kind of wanders in and shows up a little bit late, it's all right. They don't miss anything. So let's dive into our reels. So we have here in this little feed, I'll make sure, there we go. So I'm going to move some of the things about, but we have our reels here. So question, why would I need this reel in diving? I'm not fishing. Why would I need a reel? So we use reels in caves, in wrecks, and even in open water conditions. We use them for searching, mapping, directional tools as well, guidance tools, even teaching. It's a fantastic, laying out a little bit of line is a good tool to lay out around a platform so that you can practice neutral buoyancy. It kind of gives your students or gives divers and students a point of reference to create a line. So this is the Divesoft. This is our Divesoft Reel. So we have a bunch of very interesting kind of components about this reel. It's made from Delrin, so you can hear Ollie barking in the back. So our reels are made out of Delrin with an aluminum handle. And so what's really interesting about this is that the spool can be set to 3 different different lengths to accommodate different amounts of line. So you can kind of expand it. So I'll jump in. I keep a handy dandy double ender on my reel, but this is the aluminum handle. It's coated so that it kind of prevents any type of oxidation and any type of problems. But it can, as with anything, it can get beat up, but it's kind of coated so to sort of protect it. And then we have this is our kind of our reel stop. This is what causes friction to prevent the reel from free spinning. All right. And then we have our line stop, and I'll dive into that in a moment to show you guys kind of how that is. But we built this reel. This reel was built as a pretty straightforward, simple reel that you can take apart very easily. I have one disassembled right next to me right here. And so just with a couple screws and a hex key, you can take the reel apart. You can kind of fix anything, and that's how you also adjust the size as well. But the way that our reel is built, it's a kind of a side. It's a side handle so that you can have a light on your. You can have a light with a Goodman handle and still spool at the same time, so you can do everything with one hand. So to take this guy apart a little bit, so we can see here, we have the 4 screws. This guy's disassembled already. So we have the 4 screws on the outside, and this is where we can see our line is attached to the spool. So even if you unspool all of the line, the line's not gonna go with it. It's attached to the side of the wall here. We have our 4 screws and then our hex key for the handle, so it free spins. So once we remove those 4 screws, you have the barrel here, and I already unscrewed it a little bit so that it'd be a little bit easier to remove. Let's see. There you go. There. All right. So we removed this kind of cap here, and then you have this collar. So this collar has a fitting on the inside. So if we want to, so typically the can accommodate 3 sizes: 150 meters, 200 meters, and 250 meters. So 250 meters is the maximum size that we can do. So with this part here, if you want to make it as small as possible, you can see that it screws in here. I'm just going to have this. I can go like this, and I can have the spool around just like this. There you go. You can see there in the camera. And then with this collar piece that it comes with, you can adjust it for the biggest size or the small. This is kind of the medium size. So I said 150 feet, 150 meters for this size, and then 200 meters with this size, and then I can flip it around, and then it's 250 meters. A lot of line. So typically for a primary reel, 150 meters is pretty good. 200 meters is pretty big too just for a primary line. Typically once you get farther than that, it's more like an exploration reel. So you can see that it has the adjustable sizes there, and then all the screws can go straight back in. I know you guys don't want to watch me go through all this and fumble about, right? So, but it's fairly straightforward with being able to screw it in, and then you can build the reel, or you can disassemble it. So the line that we have, and so the other pieces, we have our screw. Now, what's very interesting about this screw is that once I screw it out all the way, you can see this guy actually needs to be fixed up. So we have the piece right here. We have a rubber piece. Let's see, I'll pull this out in the other one. There you go. You can see it really well. So we have 2 of the metal screws. So these are stainless steel screws, so they're not going to corrode. It's going to be pretty hard to break them. But you can see here they have a rubber insert. So this rubber insert is just designed to create a friction against the spool, so that it doesn't. So it's basically it's almost like a friction brake. And over time, as the screw gets kind of worn down, as you can see here, you can remove it, and it's a piece of rubber. It's essentially like a piece of O-ring. So you can kind of cut it out. You can put a little bit of glue inside, and then you can, find a pretty big diameter O-ring, and you can put it inside, and then you can replace it yourself. Yeah, pretty good, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. And then we have this piece here. Now, I wonder if anybody can guess in the comments what cave divers used to use as a tool for kind of stopping the line. A line stop. What we used to use back in, not even back in the day, really. A lot of cave divers still use it, but we designed this line stop right here. It's just a piece that, in order to remove it, you can just put it straight through the middle, and it can come on out pretty easily. And we can put it right back. And it's going to do a good job catching every time. The likelihood of it spinning and sliding through is pretty slim. I've never had it happen, but Murphy's Law is always in effect in diving, right? What can go wrong will go wrong. But it's never happened to me, and I've been very happy with it. But this is our line stop right here. Now, another really fun tool that we've made for our reel is this piece right here. So what this piece is used for, let me see if I can get some of the other pieces out of the picture so you can get more contrast and see a little bit. So this right here, it's essentially a drill, it's a bit for a drill. And we have this square, let's see if you can kind of see, there you go. We have this square piece right here that what we can use to insert. So what we do, we take a hand drill, and then go ahead, and then we insert it into the drill, and you can see that it'll fit inside. Now, if I'm going to be spooling in a lot of line, I can use this. I can use the drill to spin it rather than using my hands. Now, you always want to be very careful. If you're doing this, you're going to move the line very quickly. If you're using your hands, you should wear gloves. But you can see it's a pretty good tool for spooling. It can also be, it's also a good way you can hurt yourself. So you need to be very, very careful doing this type of things. So, all right. So, but this is all of these tools that we have, and I'm showing you guys. It's available on our eShop on divesoft.com. But I just wanted to make sure that we go deep into this and explain what all the pieces that we have on the shop, on the website. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this back, make sure that spool doesn't fall out on me. And I'm going to put this screw back in. You can see also here we have different lengths, so this slider can move. As you use more line on here, it can kind of go up as well. So the reel comes in kind of three. We have three kind of categories that our reels come into. We have our basic reel with 200 meters of cord. It's a the cord that we use is a polyester yarn, and it's used for the production of passenger tires. And so it's in the automotive industry. It's a pretty. Let me see right here. So you can see it's not very typical line that you see in a lot of our older reels, but it's a very strong, it's a pretty stiff line too. You can see that it has kind of a memory. It's not like a very soft line, so it's pretty stiff. It's a very strong line. Really great for cave diving. Now, I like to use this type of line for cave diving because it's strong. It has a strong tensile strength, and it also it's not going to cut very easily, like if you have it against a sharp rock. Now you'll see later with our other spool, we offer a different type of line. So, but we'll get to that in a moment. So we have our basic reel with 200 meters of cord, and then we have another reel with, we also offer our reels without any line on them at all. So you can put your own line if you'd like to. So if you guys have any questions, always be sure to submit some questions on this live stream chat. And Matt in the background, he'll post some of the chats some of the questions as we see them through the live stream, and I'll try to answer them as best I can. So that's definitely something we always want to encourage on these live streams. There's lots of chatter, lots of comments, lots of questions. Yep. Let's see. Quack, 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 quack. All right. So next thing is we have our spools. So our spools, we have 3 types of spools that we offer. See right here. There we go. Now, oh, John Bentley needs some more. He needs some of these picks. Let's see. There we go. So this is also another tool that we have been kind of giving away at some of the shows if you see us, but we do offer them online. It's really great for any type of save a dive kit. It's an O-ring pick that we make. We machine these, and it's a really handy O-ring pick just to have all the time. It's soft enough; it's not going to scratch any metal or anything. So, really handy pick. So back to the spools. So we offer 3 types of spools. We have our now these are all made. It's a polyoxymethylene, kind of a palm Delrin material. It's all one piece. There's no seams, so that they're very solid, very strong. And we sell the spool without any line, and then we sell this other spool with 25 meters of line. So this cord is the same that we use on our primary reels, but it's a great tough spool with good comfortable line. You can see my line's a little bit dirty. I've been diving with this guy pretty frequently. A word about the replacement line. So we also sell on our eShop a spool of the line that we use. So if you ever need a replacement line, we have it on our website as well. So now to get into our emergency spool. So our emergency spool, this is also part of the SOS kit that we are selling as well. I think we have a special going on it. So this spool has 90 meters of diadema cord on here. So diadema is a material that is stronger than steel and Kevlar. It has a very high strength, pulling strength. So a little trick that I do with my spools is I put a bungee on the end of the line. Just keeps it from ever coming undone. But you can see this line, I'll take another to compare with our other line here. I'm not sure if you guys can see it very well, but this line is much, much thicker than our diadema line on our cord. You can see it it's a lot softer. But what we do is we pack 90 meters of line on this small spool. So it's small enough but strong enough to be used as an emergency spool for, surface marker buoys. I don't recommend that we use it for cave diving, such as, running a line or doing, performing jumps. But I use it as an emergency SMB or for SMBs because it has a high pulling strength. It has a tensile strength of 540 newtons or 120 pounds. And so despite the long length, we're able to pack it in really well. Let me see, make sure I'm on the camera, onto the spool. So it makes for a great emergency spool to keep with an SMB. Oops. Make sure that. So I always like to make sure that. So our emergency spool is available with our SOS kits. So All right. So I want to make sure, so these are our spools. We have our black one, I'm sorry, our empty one, and then we have our other spool with 25 meters, and then we have our emergency SMB spool. Okay, now moving forward, see what we have next. All right, so now we're going to get into, since we started with the emergency SMB tool, we're going to get into some of our other emergency tools. So we'll have right here in our emergency SOS kit, we have our chili powder. Just kidding. No, it's our fluorescein. So what is fluorescein? Fluorescein is a dye marker, and it leaves a dye trace in water. It does. So what this dye marker does is it's an essential way to signal to kind of emergency services like a helicopter or a boat. If you drift away from the boat, you can create a signal, and it leaves a large dye trace. It's kind of a bright yellow in the water. It's not harmful. It's not toxic. Basically, it's been used for tracing for a long, long time. I don't know if you guys have seen on some Planet Earth documentaries that it's very commonly used. Like you can track kind of the water movement with sponges. It's very common. You can see the water moving, and so, but it's not harmful. But it's an important tool that you can use to signal emergency services if you're ever drifting about, or if you ever get blown off of a shipwreck, or if you're drifting and you need to be found, in combination with the surface marker buoy and some of our other tools that we have here. So we have a kind of a little experiment that we're going to do. Let's see if Mathieu can jump to the big screen. There we go. So what we're going to do is I'm going to open up one of these fluorescein containers for you guys and give you guys a chance to show you how it mixes with the water. Really want to be sure to not drop this, especially while being on camera. All right. So we also have a video that we'll be showing kind of after this, but to show all of you guys how the fluorescein mixes with the water. So these containers, they're sealed. You can keep them in a dry suit pocket, and it's not going to break. It's not going to leak. You can kind of, I would say, keep it and forget it. But you always want to empty your pockets after dives because stuff will rot and it'll stay wet. So you can see, I open it up, and I'm going to put a little bit, and you guys can see here. Actually mixing pretty well. I don't want to make a big mess, but I'd love to show you guys. You can see here in the camera, we have the bright yellow. I don't know if I should dump the whole thing or not, but there we go. So you can see that you have this bright yellow, and it's mixing with the water. It's turning green now. I don't want to. Probably gonna have my fingers stained after this, but we'll see. Pretty cool. But it's an incredible tool for signaling helicopters, boats, and it leaves a big trail, and so it makes it much easier to find you if you're drifting, get caught, blown off of a ship, or when you're out diving in open ocean. Wonder if I can go to the other camera. Oh man, and my fingers are still going to be stained. I don't know, I don't think so. All right, so you can see here it's nice and green. When you open up the fluorescein in the water, you can see my hands are turning yellow. That's why we always keep towels and make sure that. All right, that was a fun experiment. So any comments, questions? There we go. So Matt's going to throw up a video. See that it has the same color. All right, there we go. Now you guys can hear me. So you can see from that video before that that's kind of what happens on when you open up the Fluorescein underwater. You can see it turns that kind of same yellow green. You can see kind of behind me. It's a little bit too concentrated just for this tub so you can see it's real dark. But you know, in the ocean, it's going to be a bright yellow. So, real quick, I'm going to make sure that I move something over here on my television set. There you go. All right. So what I have here now is our signal mirror. So this is kind of a classic signal mirror. Here we have the instructions on how to use it. So you can see my mirror right there. So this is another tool that you can keep in your that's part of the SOS kit. The way that we use it, I don't know if you guys can see kind of we etch the instructions onto the mirror so you can always see. But the way that we do it, the way that you use this tool is you have the hole here. So what you do is you point this at the mirror, and then it'll make a kind of a dot on your hand, and then you can use that to point it towards a vessel, an airplane, kind of, so you can always signal to the crew from far away. It's just another tool to assist you and make you more visible when you're diving in the open ocean, or you know, when you're drifting or having any type of emergencies. Just make you more visible, help you out. And then we have our semi-hard case here. These have been very popular to go with our solos, and our analyzer HEO2 has a pocket inside. It's part of the SOS kit, so you can always keep it in your dive bag, so you can always have it with you at the dive site. Now we have these shorts. I'm not going to wear them for you. I hope I don't disappoint, but they're fun shorts to go with your SOS kit. All right, and be sure to, you know, always always got to have your Divesoft shorts. All right. So, what is next, you say? What other tools do we have in our Divesoft gadget toolbox? There we go. So, kind of along with our cylinders and our flow limiters, we have our ever famous Divesoft silencer. This is a great tool for use with cylinders to make sure, so whenever we're bleeding cylinders, that we're able to kind of protect our hearing. As you should always kind of wear the right personal protection equipment. Always protect your ears when bleeding cylinders. But it should take you about 10 minutes to bleed down a cylinder. You want to make sure that you don't get any moisture inside of them. But this silencer is a fantastic tool for bleeding down tanks and able to do it quickly and without hurting anyone's ears. Now this tool is it's a plug for a cylinder. We want to make sure if you have a tri-mix or an expensive mix in any of your cylinders, or if you're traveling to the dive site, that your valve doesn't get knocked open or rolled open and that you lose that gas. Now what's important, there's been plugs before, but what's important is that if it does open, you're able to bleed it. So you can see here there's a button, and what that button is, it's essentially a bleeder for the cylinder. So if the cylinder gets accidentally opened, you can bleed it, you can relieve the pressure behind it, and you can unscrew it out. So these are for DIN valves. Okay. So does the plug have a bleed for relief? Yes. Yeah, Rusty. We have, like I was showing right here, we have the bleed. It's just a little push button right in the center, and it'll bleed the gas so that you can take it off. Otherwise, it would be a little bit harder. You'd have to use a wrench or a tool. So, but it's designed so that you can remove it with your hands. Okay. Next we have our quick release buckles. So I'll bring these over to the small camera so you guys can see them. So we have a kind of a big set of our quick release quick release fastener system. And as I set these up, and then we have our sliders, and then we have different diameters of them, and then we have our D-rings. Let's see, make sure that you guys can see around that little. How long will it take to get off your skin? Oh yeah, you guys have noticed my fingers are stained. I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to wash them. I'll let you guys know after the video. So we have our quick release fastener system. I don't know if you guys have seen these types of buckles before, but it's similar to Cobra style buckles. What's different about these is that the latches are on the outside. So if you're wearing big bulky gloves, you can kind of sweep and pull it away. So that it's very easy to open and detach. Made out of stainless steel, and so it's gonna hold its strength for a good while. You know, as long as you're cleaning and taking good care of your gear, it shouldn't rust. But you know, stainless is going to really just stain a little bit less, right? But it's also designed that both buckles have to be open at the same time in order for it to open, so you can't accidentally open it. You can see if I try to actuate one, it's not going to come off. But if I do both of them, then it'll come off very easily. So this is a really good tool for creating kind of a harness quick release, or just kind of a way to get out of your harness very easily. I've always been a big fan of the Hogarthian DIR system, but after I started kind of using these, I found that it's very, very reliable, and it's, you know, the likelihood of failure is slim to none, and it's been really handy. It makes it much, much easier to get out of my harness just putting in one of these quick release buckles. So we have so this is the active part, and then this is the passive part, otherwise known as the male system and the female system. So we have different types of sliders. So this one is designed to use as part of your webbing. You can have the D-ring kind of in this, so it's all integrated in one system, so that you can have your quick release right at your D-ring. So you can see the diameter is a little bit bigger here and then smaller. And then we have the slider. So this is designed so you can adjust it, but it's going to do a good job of biting and keeping its grip as long as there's tension on it. But once you remove the tension from it, you can undo it very quickly and easily. And then we also have our sliders. This is our ladder lock. So this is for, it's got a 50 millimeters or 2-inch wide. It's 4 50 millimeter or 2-inch wide straps. It's made out of stainless steel. And this one's for a kind of a bigger diameter. You can do multiple straps kind of over on itself. And then we have this single where basically you can just run it through once. And then we have kind of our, it's an oversized D-ring. Great, great for a crotch strap, waist strap, but it's pretty big, real easy to clip to. And so it can all be kind of integrated as part of the ladder lock system or the quick release fastener system. So all of these are on our eShop, so you guys can see everything. And if you want to order any, that's where they're at. We also make these materials in titanium as well. So very, very strong and lightweight. Okay. So I think that's kind of, I don't know if you guys saw enough tools and enough toys. I can probably find some more, but I think that might be plenty for today. If there are any questions, let's see if Matt can throw up some more, or if not, I think we saw that a lot of you guys guessed how many ducks there we have kind of running around. They even squeak. And so what we're going to do is we're going to see who were the first to guess on those, and then we'll send you a message via Facebook, and then we'll let you know. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us for the Divesoft Gear Talks. Be sure to join us next week, and so it's going to be a surprise of what we're going to be talking about in the next episode of Gear Talks. And then this Thursday, don't forget to join us for our Divesoft Dive Talks. The guest that I'm going to have on is going to be Steve Bogarts. He's a very well-known cave explorer that lived in the Yucatan, but he's from the UK. So that'll be a really interesting episode, so be sure to watch it. Thank you very much. Bye.